G'day everyone and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be discussing the Ford Ranger 6R80 transmission and why they are known for having a high failure rate and what the common causes of that is. So these transmissions are fitted to a number of Ford vehicles, including the Ford Mustang, the Ford F-150, and of course the PX series of Ford Rangers. So that's PX1, PX2, and PX3. Now, these transmissions are a direct copy of the 6HP26 ZF transmission, which is found in a number of different cars, one being a Ford Falcon, another one being BMW and Jaguars and stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of cars that are fitted with the ZF 6HP26, and what the 6R80 is just a direct copy of that under license. In fact, they share a lot of the same components internally, and in my opinion are probably just as good as the ZF 6HP26. So Ford state that the service intervals for these transmissions are 240,000 kilometers or 10 years. So just to give you a little bit of perspective, I recently did a transmission service on my 150,000 kilometer Ford Ranger, which has the 6R80 in it, and the oil came out completely black. In fact, on your screen right now is a picture of how black the oil was underneath a light. So if my oil was that black at 150,000 kilometers, just imagine what it's going to look like at 240,000 kilometers. Keeping in mind, my Ranger didn't even have a tow bar on it. So that was just pretty much normal day-to-day driving without doing any towing at all. So what causes the oil to go so black so quickly? Well, unfortunately, the Ford engineers decided to fit a factory thermostat inside the transmission, which essentially doesn't let any oil go to the cooler until the temperature reaches about 80 degrees internally. So when transmission fluid is operating at a higher temperature, it starts to break down quicker, and that's when you get your discoloration of the oil, and essentially what that causes is internal wear of the components of the valve body, and that's when you start getting your erratic shifting, your flaring in between gears, and the other associated problems that the 6R80s are known for. The good news is, if your Ranger does start shifting erratically and start flaring in between gears, it is generally 9 times out of 10 going to be just a valve body replacement. So you'll find that the valve body will just have wear on it, it won't hold pressure anymore, and that's what your problem is going to be. A lot of people misdiagnose a bad valve body as a bad transmission and replace the whole transmission. That's not the case with the 6R80s. Like I said earlier, the transmissions are actually internally, they're pretty stout, probably built just as good as the ZF 6HP26. So someone says you need a whole transmission replacement, don't listen to them, just replace the valve body, and I can guarantee 9 times out of 10, it's just going to be the valve body that will need replacing. So how do you keep your 6R80 from needing a valve body replacement? Well, regular fluid changes. I would recommend probably changing the fluid every 40,000 kilometers. If you're doing towing, probably maybe even every 25 to 30,000 kilometers. And that should keep the oil in there clean enough to get the most life out of your 6R80 transmission.